Okay, hey everybody. Here we are in Cricut and we want to make some manipulatives. So we're just gonna go to a new project. To get a new project, you hit this new button and you get this um, thing that looks like a piece of graph paper actually. It's a background. You have to remember that you're either going to be cutting on cardstock that's 8.5 by 11, or you're going to be cutting on cardstock that's 12 by 12. There are other sizes you can use, but those are the traditional ones and probably the ones that you're going to find easily and readily available in places like Walmart and Hobby Lobby and Joann's, although Walmart's definitely going to have the best prices on the cardstock. So what I want to do is just make some simple shapes for Cricut to cut out to serve as manipulatives in my classroom. So I go along the side here, I go to the shapes button and tap it, and I can pick any of these shapes. I'll just take hexagons today, and it puts a hexagon on the screen, and I can move this around anywhere I want. In Cricut, you don't want to put it all the way up against the top. You need to leave a small border. I try to leave two of these rows or columns of graph paper, let's call it, around it, because otherwise it'll be too close to the top when it cuts it out. And then I need to decide what size it's going to be. And it doesn't matter what color it shows on the screen. You're going to put in whatever color you put into the Cricut machine to cut it out on. So let's just say I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it out on some orange cardstock. I can change it to orange if that makes me feel better. I want to resize it, and I just want to have one up on the screen to begin with. And it's very easy to make several copies of the same thing. But this is going to be a little big. I can see that it's 3.5 or more than 3.5 wide, and it's a little over 3 high. So that's kind of big. What I'm going to do is make it a little smaller. I'm going to come up here to, I think I'll just go to the uh, height, and I can step it down using these arrows, but instead I'm just going to type in a 2 and hit the enter key on my keyboard, and that's going to resize it. So the size is proportionately locked. So whatever I did to the height, it proportionally resized the width so that it wouldn't look all wonky and lopsided. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to duplicate this guy, and I have 12 by 12 cardstock that I can use, so I can put several of these across. I don't want to go all the way to the 12 over here in the graph paper. I want to stop at about 11.5. So I'm going to duplicate this guy one time. Then I'm going to bring him up and put him next to this guy without him touching. Okay, doesn't need to touch because you got to leave the Cricut machine room to cut around it. And then what I'm going to do to make my life easier is I'm going to select both of these. And to select both of these, I'm just going to draw a square around them with my cursor, and that selects both of them, so that this time when I duplicate, I get two together. And I'm just using the duplicate button over to the right. And here it is. It shows me over here that it's going to cut a total of 4 of them now. And so I can keep on lining these up. So I'm going to duplicate this guy. Doesn't matter which set of 2 I duplicate. But if I duplicate this guy, then I can just keep on dragging them and lining them up so that I can cut as many as I possibly can to take up the all of the 12 by 12 sheets, so I don't waste any of this cardstock. When I'm ready, what I want to do is save this. I'm not done, but I'm going to pretend I'm done. And it just tells me over here, all it's simply going to do is cut it out. It's not going to write anything on it. It's not going to add any cutouts on top of it. I just want hexagons. And they're going to be orange only because I'm going to put orange cardstock in the Cricut Maker. If I have green cardstock, they'll come out green. They'll show orange on here, but when it gets cut, they'll be green. So you can use whatever color you've got available to you. I want to save this project though in case I want to either use it again or add to it. So I got a little save button up here just like you always do in software. So when I tap save, it lets me name this. And I want to name it something descriptive, so I'm just going to call it hexagons for manipulatives. Hopefully I spelled that right. And I don't want this to be public. I don't want the world to see it. I just want to save it for myself. So I'm going to hit save. And now I'll be able to find it again. So let's say the second grade teachers are all going to use this manipulative. Now anybody can come open this and you tell them what the name of the file is. They can come and cut out their own manipulatives. So now I'm ready to make this puppy. And the reason I saved it before I made it was I can always come back and make changes, but it's tempting. You get so excited once you make it to forget to save it. And it wasn't a lot of work to put these on here, but it's enough work. So if I wanted to come back and add some more, I could select all of these, right? And I could duplicate them again, and then I'd be able to pull those down and have 8 more. So I'm again using up as many as I possibly can, and then I need to hit save again. There's a little star here that tells me it's not saved. I can save as with a new name, so I could make it something different, or I can just save it over top of the old one because that sounds like the smartest thing to do. Notice all of these aren't lined up especially evenly. They don't need to be. As long as they're not touching, you're good to go. And then I want to hit the big green button that says make it. It's going to show me that it's going to fit on a mat that's 12 by 12. What happens if I discover I don't have 12 by 12? Well, over here, I could change it to, let's say, I have only 8.5 by 11. And it's now going to rearrange things automatically for me. And it's going to show me that it could cut out this many on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. Notice how it has to be positioned on the mat. Okay, so it's going to be in portrait instead of landscape, if you will. And then if I really wanted this extra guy, it would be kind of a waste. I might just want to cut mat number 1 over and over and over again when I discover that I only have letter sized instead of the 12 by 12. So it just depends. Normally, though, you have lots of different sizes here, but normally cardstock is going to be 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12. So when you get all ready to go, you just put your cardstock, your piece of orange cardstock on one of the mats that have kind of a sticky feel to them. You put them, position them, you start in the upper left corner, and then you hit the continue button, and it tells you exactly what to do after that. So it tells me to connect my maker, my Cricut Maker. Well, mine's already connected, so it found it. It asked me, hey, what base material are you using? Well, I might have light cardstock or medium cardstock, but, I think I have medium cardstock. It feels lots heavier than paper. If it felt kind of paperish, I might choose light cardstock. But you can use copy paper. There's all kinds of stuff that you can use. So I would choose medium cardstock. And again, it tells me what to do. It tells me to load the tools and material. I already have my fun point blade in clamp B of the Cricut Maker, and it tells me to stick my mat in the Cricut Maker and hit the load button. And once I finish loading, it's going to tell me to press the go button. So you can't go wrong because it tells you what to do. It helps you think every step of the way. So I don't have anything loaded, so this press go is going to stay grayed out. But the go button looks like the little C with the antennas coming out of the top. And then once you press go, it does the rest. It just cuts it, and when it's all done, it stops, and you get a new screen here that tells you to unload your mat. So you hit this button here that has two arrows on it. That's load and unload, and it spits your mat back out to you. You pull off the excess of the cardstock, and you have all your nice little hexagons that you could pull off and sort or use in whichever way you want to. And that's all there is to it.